Looking for the perfect gift for the perfect guy this Valentine's Day? Perfect gift. Well, then the perfect jean knows just what you need to gift your man. They are mind readers. From jeans or shorts that are tailored to not crush your man's junk. Ow, that hurts. To shirts that use the same stretch and quality as their jeans to make your man look good this Valentine's Day. Ill-fitting clothes make you look ugly and unworthy of love. Plus, the best Valentine's Day is using promo code BIDDLE20 at theperfectjean.nyc for 20% off your first order. That's right, BIDDLE20 gets you 20% off all their items. Inclusive deals are the best. So this Valentine's Day, fuck those boring khakis and get your man the perfect gift from the perfect jean. And don't forget to use code BIDDLE20 for 20% off your order. Khakis are the worst.
Let's face it, como están las cosas, we could all use a little boost now and again. Whether for workout recovery or putting a bit more antioxidant in our body, Snapcrack has a solution with their new IV infusions. Snapcrack offers a selection of 20-minute IV vitamin drips with varying health benefits. From NAD+, which helps with anti-aging, brain function, and stress, to one of those hangovers, because let's face it, dry January was pretty much over by brunch on January 1st. You can even build your own drip with up to 3 vitamin pushes. And like other Snapcrack offers, you can pay per treatment or take advantage of a $99 monthly membership, currently offered at the Miami Beach, Coral Gables, and Hialeah locations. But make sure to check snapcrack.com for the full Boost Day schedule and location updates. So visit snapcrack.com today to learn more and find a location nearest you. Because after all, when you feel better, you do better. Hey everyone, this is DJ.
And this is Ish.
And this is
Season 5 of Pero Let Me Tell You.
You know that when you were in California this past week, what I kept thinking?
What?
I kept thinking, don't wake me up.
Aww.
Don't wake
You know,
me up if I'm
that is a good song.
dreaming California dreams. Well, I mean, I can't say that without finishing the verse, right?
That's true, yeah.
Right?
But that is actually one of the better theme songs.
Listeners, do you remember California Dreams on
NBC?
NBC?
Saturday morning.
Before or after Saved by the Bell?
Yep.
So, well, with that California intro,
Right.
welcome to episode 189, everybody.
Yes.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Fatal Fridays, our second episode of the year, and episode 189.
Yes. So I'm going to apologize in advance because, we're recording this on Fake Friday. Mm-hmm. But on Fake Friday is the day that I took the red eye in from LA. And I got to Fort Lauderdale at like 5 a.m, and I've only slept about an hour and change today.
I don't feel sorry for you.
So
Estaba gozando.
But I'm apologizing to our guests if I yawn or something, our listeners.
Yeah, it's like when people on Monday back in the office are like, I'm so tired. Why? Because I came back from my cruise. This is, of course, BC before Corona. Because
it could have been me.
I came back from my... No, because you had Corona. So,
that's true, yeah.
I came back from my cruise so tired. I'm like, I freaking cry me a river, woman. It's like... Anyway, welcome back, everybody.
Yes, welcome back to...
How is everybody this weekend, this Friday?
Episode 2 of Season 5.
Oye, había tremendo frío in Miami this week.
I know. Well, in LA, it was chilly, too.
Yeah, but LA gets chillier more.
True, fair enough.
Than Miami.
Yeah.
And LA gets hotter more.
Yeah, but LA always has, like, weather.
I thought it was funny when we were in LA a couple of years ago, for the podcast, that you were like, are there like 5 suns in LA? Because I'm like, we're from Miami. We're from the Sunshine State. But I think that, when we went, it was like really, really hot. I mean,
there were also fires.
There was also fires, but there's always fires there.
So, that's going to make extra hot.
Yeah. So, anyway, so I have to say that I'm really upset I didn't join you for a few reasons.
You were missed.
For a few reasons. But yeah, Martha, that I didn't get to hang out with
I
Martha
know,
Darby.
Martha Darby, yes.
I feel like
I'm
to me-
officially a Darby now, by
to
the
me,
way.
Martha is family. Like,
Well,
I'm not kidding.
oh. And more so now.
Like Martha, tú le invita a la boda.
That's true.
Yeah, or a los 15.
A los 15, or
Right.
right. A baby
Right.
shower. Yeah.
No, Martha.
Yeah,
if
you
she
invite her
was
to
local, she's getting an invitation.
She's getting an invitation. No, even if she's not local, she's getting an invitation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel even more like I'm a Darby now.
Since,
Like,
you hung out with the whole clan.
it was great because she, it was like, oh, we'll meet you at the Portos, the one we went to where we met her.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, okay, great. She's like, oh, my whole family wants to meet you. And I was like, are we gonna have like a Portos party room? Like, because they're not 3.
Right.
So it was her, her husband, her grandchildren, 3 of her 4 kids, because Lucy, which is the one who just had the baby, so cute. Couldn't go because she actually had COVID.
Oh.
So she couldn't make it. But era una mesa ahí with,
And for those of
us and the Darbys.
For those of you who don't know who we're talking about Martha Darby, the
Big Fat Cuban
creator
blog.
of my Big Fat Cuban blog. She's been on the show before, and she came down here to Miami a couple of years ago, and we hosted her. I mean, we love her. And,
She's family. Like she's una tía.
and you're right. Her son, it's not that he looks like me, but he looks like me.
Right. Like if you walk into a crowded space and you're not really paying attention, you're like, ay, Darien está aquí. And it's like, oh no, it's not Darien. He was even wearing sandals.
Well, yeah.
He was even wearing sandals. It's not even just que tenía like his face and the beard. No. He had it down to your footwear, sir.
Yeah, my footwear.
Your footwear.
I should patent that, right? Darian, who always wears flip flops.
And of course, because she just, the grandbaby is like maybe 4 or 5 months old.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, like a good Cuban, I took her a bottle of Agustín Reyes.
Well, yeah.
Because what else, what else does a Cuban baby need?
The essence of Cuban baby.
Exactly. That sounds like something from like a witch's cauldron.
Esencia de bebé cubano. Agustín Reyes. It's so great that they have it in a spray now.
It's just easier.
And it's plastic.
But it's not the same.
No.
It's not-
Right.
yeah.
Right. Like, for example, especially when Tristan was a baby, like, I would buy the glass one.
Yeah.
The old school
Yeah.
glass one. Right. But, like, sometimes, I buy it every now and then for me, like, to
Okay.
spray around the house. But I buy the plastic spray.
Right, because it's for the house. It's not for a baby.
It's not
Right,
for the-
right.
Y el baby, cuando se pone, eso es regalo para el cumpleaños and all that.
Hello, yes.
Yeah. So,
But I also want to give a quick shout out to, because finally met Danny Bellas from Café Llave, who has been, our contact extraordinaire at Café Llave. And it was great because he gave me a very unique Burbank tour. So I now know where celebrities live. Mm-hmm. I don't think I remember, but I know where they live.
Oh.
In theory, I could get you to Jennifer Love Hewitt's house.
Right.
And Meghan Trainor. And Miley Cyrus and Sia.
Wow, what an eclectic bunch that is.
Yes, and they all live kind of in the same neighborhood.
Wow.
They should do a potluck.
A potluck. So,
And, Danny, Tony, and Riza from Spanish Aqui Presents. Also, finally met Riza in person también.
I know, right? Because I feel Riza we know, but we don't know, like, in person.
When I saw her in person, I was like, it's just a mirage. Because
It would be great if, like, whenever they're down here, we could have them. I mean, we've recorded with Tony.
Yeah.
But we could have
and Carlos, we've done twice también.
Yeah, we could have them. So we could, the Miami 4.
Well, mira, Riza, if you're listening to this, I know you're going to be down here the weekend of before Valentine's Day. Invitation is wide open, darling.
Let's make it happen.
Yes.
So anyway, so yes, I was totally jealous, and I had FOMO of your LA trip, especially now. I had FOMO of your LA trip.
Yeah.
So, so this week,
Yes.
a lot of things happened.
A few.
Well, you were in LA.
A few.
So let's talk about.
Just pick any topic.
Let's talk about. Obviously, in 188, 89 episodes, I'm a fan of The View.
Really?
We heard what happened.
Well, yes, I heard what happened. So I don't know if you want to recap it because you watch it, so you have a first-hand account.
Listeners, so this week on The View, they were, they're talking about the rise in anti-Semitism and so on and so forth.
Which, unfortunately, we saw an example of happen here in Central Florida this week.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to that in a second. And they were having a discussion in the panel, and Whoopi Goldberg said something along the lines of that the Holocaust was not about racism because it was,
White on
white crime, and that it was humans being inhumane to each other.
Men's inhumanity to man,
right,
I think.
to
So
man. But she pretty much said that it wasn't about race. And not only do obviously everybody disagrees with her, and that was a big no-no, like she should have said that. I feel that Whoopi Goldberg is a elevated person insofar that you could tell she's very well read, and I consider her somebody intelligent.
At this point, you know what her feelings are about things.
So I was really surprised, shocked, and disappointed that she would say that, because I think it's in the first paragraph of the final solution, which was a manifesto that the Nazis wrote in order to exterminate the Jews. The final solution,
right?
They talk about how they are an inferior race, and it was always about the Jews being a different race, being an inhumane race, a barbaric race, right? So the race was always very much a factor of it.
Yes, I agree. But I can also see how, through the lens of today, we view racism from a different angle that maybe at that moment escaped. You know what I mean?
Escaped her.
That. Because I think nowadays people, because if you look at it visually, right? I mean, I don't think of the Jewish people as a race. Like, I don't think of them as a race.
Right.
But in the context of how the Nazis set it up, yes,
right,
it was racism.
But we all know that you can't always go by that because, for example, how many people that are Latin American are blonde and blue-eyed that look Caucasian white, like Americano, and are not.
Well, but that's the thing is Latin is an ethnicity, not a race.
Right, but what I'm saying is that these are very complex things.
Correct.
In a different time and place, they mean different things.
But that's what I'm saying. I could see how this.
No, because specifically to the issue of the Holocaust and the Nazis, we're talking about Nazis but let me tell you,
2022.
In the context of that, it was very, very defined that this was an issue of race, that they were seen as a different race, and how Germans and I can never say it right, Aryan race, the Aryan race was they believe the Aryan race to be superior, which, mind you, the whole Aryan race concept was completely invented by them.
Of course.
Right. So it was always about race. So I just don't see how, again, somebody as well versed as her could have missed that point. But that's not even why I brought this up.
Okay.
So she said that. She immediately got a bunch of shit on Twitter and social media later that day.
Yeah, she got called out.
She apologized. The following day, she apologized.
Because she was on the show the next day.
She was. She gave a full-blown apology, and she invited, I forget his name, the president of the Defamation League. And, he talked about that and all that, and they had a great conversation about that. And she apologized. Later that day, she was suspended for 2 weeks.
2 weeks, right.
So, again, this has to do with the conversation of cancel culture, which we've talked about
ad nauseum
on the show.
Yeah.
So, what are your takes on this?
Okay, I maintain that I can still see how in the heat of a moment, because again, people, you have to remember, The View is a live show. And in that moment, anybody can have a brain fart, anybody can have a thing where something slips out and unintentionally.
See, on our show, which is not live.
Right. Disparate.
How many times we've finished recording and I tell you, edit that out?
Right, because because
in retrospect, I'm like,
we know what we meant, and we know
that may have come out wrong, and we don't want edit out. And we're a recorded.
We're recorded,
show, right? So on a live show, it's
gonna happen.
When it came out, it came out.
Right, it's gonna happen, and I think specifically with her, I think her track record, to me at least, demonstrates that, and this is why I kind of go by the whole thing of brain fart, as it were. Because she's not a person who has a history of saying things that are necessarily inflammatory or...
Well, she actually does. She has said a few things.
But not things that are mean-spirited or...
No, right.
Or...
She has said that Roman Polanski didn't rape anyone. And she got heat for that. And she also was very much a defender of Bill Cosby, which eventually she backtracked on. But the Bill Cosby one, I will give her some leeway there because
As it became more apparent,
right, because at first it was a different time. I mean, it was just a few years ago, but it was a different time, and a lot of people came to his defense, right? Because we were, America's dad, and and all these.
We understand the knee
allegations
jerk, right?
At it against him. So, from the lens of 2022, specifically after the Me Too movement, we can see how
things that were the norm
now it would be unacceptable from the beginning. But back then, just 10, 12 years ago, a man got an allegation of sexual misconduct and he fought the allegation off and
that's it. It went away. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, I just, that's my thing is I think just from that perspective, I think it's weird because we do live in a culture now where everybody has to pay a consequence, right? For making a mistake. And we've said this before many times where it's like, okay, if somebody makes a mistake and they come out and they apologize, how much more do you want from them? Because then if every time that they come out and they apologize, you're going to stand by the whole like, yes, but you said, then there's no degree of consequence. And you don't want people to learn. You don't want people to evolve. You just want to always stand on your platform.
I think...
I don't know. Maybe she should have been suspended for a day. I don't know. And I say suspension only because I'm also looking at it from the perspective of the optics of it. They had to quote unquote do something, as it were. But I don't know. I just don't think that she warrants 2 weeks for something that I think was very clearly a misspeaking.
I think they suspended her to save face.
That's what I'm saying. For optics.
Think they suspended her because, Megyn Kelly got suspended. Got her show canceled for a blackface comment, and she apologized. And the next day, she had Roland Martin on her show. I remember,
and then they canceled her show anyway.
The Megyn Kelly show when she was on the Today Show. I remember watching it live when she made the blackface comment. I was like, that's not going to go down
again
well.
live.
That's not going to go down well because anyway, it was in a very because they were talking about Halloween costumes. Right, and she said something like,
when we were kids,
we somebody dressed up as Diana Ross, and she was glamorous and beautiful, and they painted their face black. That's not blackface, come on,
right?"
And when she said that, I was like, "Oh no, you didn't,"
right? Because she was going by the minstrel, exaggerated, blah blah blah.
So, and the next day she apologized, and again they had a whole conversation about it, and she got canceled. People started bringing up Roseanne.
Yes, I saw that
People
one too.
started bringing up, what's her name from The Mandalorian?
Yeah, from The Mandalorian. I forgot her name now, but yes.
So
Gina Carano?
I think they probably canceled her, or suspended her.
Yeah. Because...
to save face.
That's what I'm saying.
All these people got canceled, and she...
Ella puede decir lo que le dé la gana, and yeah.
I think there's a much easier litmus test for this. Mm-hmm. I think that si tú metes la pata... First of all, as you said, if you don't have a history of being insensitive and of saying really terrible things, then I'm more inclined to believe that this was a slip up. It was a slip up. It was a bad judgment call. Maybe lack of education, but not malintention. Right.
She wasn't trying to be dismissive of the Holocaust.
Right. No, not at all.
Right.
And yeah, it's like, why apologize why really feel remorse and apologize
if it doesn't mean anything?
You're gonna be burned at the stake anyway.
Right.
So, but that's just the world we live in now with cancel culture. Look, I think she definitely should have apologized.
She did.
Definitely apologized, and she did, because what she said was wrong. And it was especially wrong and hurtful at a time that anti-Semitism is rising in the United States in 2022. Yes, anti-Semitism is a thing now.
It's back.
It's back.
It's back.
I mean, sometimes, I think, what the hell is happening? No, sometimes no.
I think you think that every day.
It's what the hell is happening? Pero, how are we in 2022
still
talking about anti-Semitism?
Right. And having to denounce it.
Yes.
Having to denounce it. Not just talking about it, right? So people don't forget.
Right.
No. We're having to actually denounce it.
Right.
Tell people, no, that's bad.
So, I mean, I don't think she should have been suspended. I think that she should have, she did apologized, or done the whole episode of The View the following day about that, whatever that package may look like. because I believe again that if you don't have a history of offending people, if you metes la pata and you really are remorseful and are sorry and you apologize publicly, especially her that she has a history specifically of being an ally with
Of everything.
with the Jewish community,
yeah.
right? So, I mean, are you going to be mad at Madonna? I mean, are you going to think she's not an LGBT ally?
Right.
If she one day says something stupid and insensitive about
Right.
the gay community?
Right,
I mean,
right,
are you gonna take away,
40 years
40 years of advocacy
Yeah.
because of one bad, call her out on it? Sure.
Right.
You should have accountability, but are you going to complete, and I feel that that's the similar case with Whoopi Goldberg. But yeah, it's cancel culture. That actually turns into the next subject I wanted to bring up, which obviously is Joe Rogan.
Yes.
And his podcast.
I was actually going to ask you before we go to that route. I just want to get a very quick temperature check from you. What do you think would have been the scenario had this whole incident happened last year, but instead of Whoopi, it had been Meghan McCain?
That's a good question. Well, Meghan McCain is
Because Meghan McCain would get, and again, you watch it more than I do, but I feel like she would get vilified more than she warranted.
And I've said it in 188 episodes, especially when Meghan McCain was on The View. I used to say it all the time. People used to rag on Meghan, and I'm like, Meghan is not the enemy here, because Meghan was. I don't mind a conservative. I don't mind a Republican. But Meghan McCain wasn't crazy. She wasn't a Trumper.
Right.
She was very rational and logical, even if you had different opinions of her. And people used to rag on her. The problem with Meghan McCain, and this is why the context of who you are and how you speak comes into play. The problem with Meghan McCain is that Meghan McCain was very disliked because many times she came across
as frigid, as cold.
Frigid. She came across as entitled. She came across like they would ask her questions, sometimes, more fluffy subjects.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm not going to talk about this.
Right.
So she wouldn't come across as like
Quote unquote likable. Right.
I liked her. I miss her on The View, but I could see how a lot of people did not. So to answer your question directly, she would have gotten like a total shitstorm. Shitstorm. I don't know if they would have done the same thing with her that they did with Whoopi, because remember, all of this is ratings and stuff like that, and Meghan McCain was gold for The View in terms of
that
ratings.
That is true.
But oh my God, she would have gotten a shitstorm of stuff. She gets a lot of really bad Twitter comments, and I will say this: ever since she's been on The View, she's been a little bit more
off The View. You mean?
Off The View, yeah. She's been a little bit more intense. Like ella dice cosa that I don't like, because, for example, when she was on the show, on The View, she would always say that if Joe Biden ran for president, she had to quit the show because she loved Joe Biden. Because Joe Biden and her...
She knew him personally, yeah.
Joe Biden and her dad were very good friends, and he was very supportive of her when her dad had cancer. And she'd always talk about his decency and how good he was. Bueno, I see her making some personal jabs at him now on Twitter. And... that's not cool. And when she was on The View, she would always say how much she loved Whoopi Goldberg, and how if Whoopi jumped ship, she would jump ship. And she actually came out and talked a lot of trash about her now. So I thought that was really not
cool. Yeah,
classy. Yeah. So with Joe Rogan. So what do we think about that?
I will say that you know what? I don't see a problem with Joe Rogan espousing what he espouses on his show. And it's his show. He's not telling people to go out and do, as far as I know, because I don't listen to the show, he's not telling people to go out and do illegal things. He's not telling people to go out and break the law necessarily. And, if your source of medical, scientific information is Joe Rogan, ya empezaste con el pie izquierdo.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So, all these people who are now have this subjective outrage of, we need to cancel him and I'm going to pull my, my catalog. It's like, first of all, Neil Young, nobody cares. They just don't. I mean, I'm sorry. Are you like, oh no, the Neil Young catalog has left Spotify. Oh no, what shall I do? Right? Like, whatever. And even if Taylor Swift pulls hers, Scooter Braun will leave it the other half on, so we're fine.
That's true.
So
she could pull the Taylor's version.
Yeah, but that's one album. That's it. She's, You can still get your fill.
She'll
Okay.
pull the 10-minute version of
Whatever that song.
yes.
So there's that. I don't see what all the hullabaloo is about, and I have an issue with it because at the end of the day, number one, Spotify's a business. First, foremost, and only, Spotify is a business. Rogan brings in numbers. They are selling a product, okay? I can't fault them for going where the money is because a business, it's not a charity. It's a business. Also, if you're a business that is hosting podcasts that, for the most part, house many different viewpoints, including ours, because we're not Spotify exclusives, but, we are on Spotify. I find a very real danger if Spotify steps in and says, no, Joe, you can't talk about this. You can talk about that. You can't talk about this. Because then where does it end? Where do they, then now what? They have the power to say, let's use us for, guys, you're talking too much bad things about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the future. You need to talk. I mean, it's a stupid example, but
We're not Bitcoin bros.
we're not. I don't know what enough is. But it's that.
Although if you did Bitcoin, te comiste tremendo.
Yeah, tremendo cable. These past couple days.
The big mover that we know that's doing big moves. He probably had
It was a bowel movement.
Soufflé de cable. But go ahead.
Wow, that should be a T-shirt. Soufflé de cable. Yeah. So I don't have an issue with it, and I also think all these other podcasters now who are like, oh, I'm gonna pull I'm like. But the thing is that, how many people are on NBC has a show and then somebody else has another show and they have differing viewpoints and you don't get all in a no pun intended in a Twitter about that. I mean, just stop the selective outrage, and even more so, please, common person out there, stop taking to social media to post like, I'm leaving Spotify because no one cares. No one cares that you're leaving Spotify, average person. Like, we just don't. So keep your righteous indignation to yourself because you're not that important.
So I have opinions about this.
It's what we do. But are they opinions that are in line with Spotify?
You know what's with Joe Rogan, I'm very conflicted because I actually...
You've listened to his show many a
times.
time, yeah. I never have.
I actually like Joe Rogan.
He seems like a fun person to have a beer with.
I used to love him on Fear Factor.
I used to like him on News Radio.
I liked Joe Rogan. I don't agree, especially politically, with Joe Rogan.
Okay, bueno, pero...
And él hablado mucha mierda. I mean, look, I think that he has a very large platform. Over 100 million listeners a month. Mm-hmm.
I'd kill for a fraction of it.
No news show pulls in those numbers, right? So... I think, como dice Spider-Man, with
great power comes great responsibility.
I think that even if he is a non-vaxxer or an anti-vaxxer, mm-hmm. I think you need to be responsible with your opinion and your stand on things. Because,
and I don't know how he has spoken of these things, so I don't.
As we've spoken about COVID, this is not about you only. This is about everybody else.
Okay.
So you need to be very responsible and thoughtful about what you say because you have 100 million listeners, mm-hmm. right? So that's always been my problem with him, that I've felt that he has, gone down that road too much about being an anti-vaxxer, because it's not like when one day they had a conversation about it. Right. And he's like, look, I don't really believe in the vaccines. No, he's had all these guests and all these people that are anti-vaxxers. Right. Okay. And he's never had, or had very few that I can think of, okay. that have provided the other end of that.
Because he has had. I remember one time we were watching The View and they had a doctor, I forget his name now, who had been on it, and they were they were talking about it.
It was
Sanjay Gupta. And basically the ladies were like eviscerating him for even going on the show, and it's like, wait a minute, entonces quiere pero no quiere.
But it hasn't been on the same proportion.
No. But what I mean is, entonces you want him to stop talking about it, but then when he has somebody on, you're like, you shouldn't go on. So what do you want? What do you want?
And again, it's a show. He could do whatever he wants. But again, I just think it's one of these things that this is not so much about like what my opinion is and what your opinion is, and we have different opinions. This is public health, and you should be a little bit more responsible with what you say. Again, you're free to say whatever you want, but just be a little bit more responsible, because even before, this whole COVID thing started, and everybody has an opinion about vaccines. Everybody's now an expert.
Well, Rogan is tremendo conspiracy theorist.
Yeah. So even before that, like, I wouldn't have told people like, oh, don't vaccinate your kids, when there were people who don't believe in vaccines for children. This is before COVID. Yeah. So that is my problem with him. As far as the pooling of Spotify, what I've actually had a problem with, and this is why I always say that as a liberal and a progressive and a Democrat, we never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity, or we always somehow fuck it up. Because what really upset me was that now there were people who were calling out different celebrities to pull their music from Spotify. So it's like,
because if you don't, you're a bad person.
Right. So it's like, okay, now you are putting other people in the middle of this who didn't ask to be in the middle of this. And I know when people are like, yeah, but it should be your duty to do the right thing. Yes and no, because this is a very heated debate.
Also,
right?
Yeah, you're fucking with people's income.
And actually, Taylor Swift came up on this. Right? Yeah. And another thing is that esa gente hablando mierda.
Of course.
Because we all, well, actually, no, we don't all know. A lot of recording artists do not. Well, hell, the whole thing that happened with Taylor Swift. Speaking of,
let's keep down that path. Yeah,
you don't own your masters, so you are not the one who calls the shots.
It's your label
of whether you want to pull something off of a public streaming service or not. Right.
It's your label.
I guess Neil Young owns all his music. Right.
I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
And Joni Mitchell and all of them, and that's fine. But you are not necessarily the person who could say, I'm pulling all my catalog from a streaming service.
Adele can show up at her record company and demand that, and they'll do it because you're an Adele.
Right.
But your average your average artist.
But not even so.
More so than the average artist.
Yes and no, because even huge artists, huge, successfully. Well, again, look at Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift had to re-record all her music because Scooter Braun wouldn't give her music. And didn't let her do with her music for whatever his reasons are.
For legal reasons. I mean, he bought it.
Valid,
yeah.
But the point is that she couldn't have
the rights,
the freedom to do with her music what she wanted, and she's Taylor Swift. Right. How many times do you hear of like huge artists that are like, oh, that's not the single I wanted to release, or that's not, the
label.
The label did it, right? Yeah. So it's all about the label and sticking somebody in and saying, oh, this person should pull it and this person should do that. It's putting somebody now in the middle of an argument.
They may not even have a decision in that.
And not only do they may not have a decision, but they're gonna lose whatever opinion they take, because if they say, oh, I'm pulling my music, then half of America is going to be like, oh, you're going with the flow and whatever, freedom
you're
of
woke,
speech,
whatever.
And then, vice versa.
No, hang on.
So it's like, again, it's like take a step back.
Do for you and leave everybody else alone.
Yeah, I love that when people are like, I'm canceling my subscription. I'm like, wow.
Wow, you're so brave.
Wow.
You're so brave. Wow.
Well, what's that saying? Sometimes I live on the edge and I take off my seatbelt when the plane just landed, before they say, take off your seatbelt.
You daredevil, you.
Yeah, it's like, when people make these public statements of like, I'm taking my business elsewhere. I'm like, okay,
well, good for you.
I hate that. And as much as an advocate as I am, and that I am the type to get in the, we've talked about it here. I'm the one to get in the front lines and protest and meterme en todo ese revolú, right? That I love doing that. But I also, that's a choice as well. And just because you don't do that doesn't mean you believe any less in it, right? And I just hate that when people are telling me what I should boycott and not boycott and do, and no, please don't.
I support it my way.
And whatever that looks like.
Whatever that looks like, yeah.
So, yeah.
Mi gente, let's face it. You can run 100 miles a week and lift all the weights in the world, but the key to meeting your fitness goals ultimately comes down to one thing: la comida. Well, the new YouFit has just the solution to help make healthy nutrition choices with their Eat Love program. Part of YouFit's Premium Plus memberships
Eat Love is the leading personalized nutrition platform used by fitness companies and dietitians. Así que you know it's legit. This tool not only provides over 6,000 recipes and access to nutritionists, but factors your lifestyle. So whether vegan, vegetarian, keto, low carb, lo que sea, Eat Love has got you. Eat Love is your workout's perfect complement. So visit youfit.com and find out how to make Eat Love's customized nutrition program part of achieving your fitness goals. After all, at YouFit, you come first.
Anyways,
Oh, Spotify.
I don't use Spotify anyway.
No?
No.
Oh, I do.
I don't even know what Spotify looks like.
Really?
No, I don't have Spotify.
Oh, I do. And also Spotify, call us.
I mean, I'll have Spotify if...
Listen, call us. Well, I'll be a Spotify exclusive. Shit, pay me. You pull up that Spotify truck with enough money, I'll be I'll exclusive the hell out of it.
Is there any streaming service that has gone like Tidal? Is Tidal still around?
Tidal is still around. It's funny you mentioned that. The other day I was on Instagram and I got served a sponsored post, and it's like Tidal. It's like, oh, now free and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, right, because nobody was paying. Tidal was mucho como que tú dijiste que like they brought everybody out for the manifesto,
Right.
and mucho like high quality, high no sé qué, da, 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 da. And it's like, great, but I'm listening to the same music that I can listen to on Spotify, on Pandora, on iHeart, on pick a streamer. It's just, yeah.
Pandora. Well,
I know what you're thinking of. Yes, I do.
the Mexican singing group, not the bracelet or the box. Wow, Pandora could be three things.
Oh, Pandora. When you said the box, I automatically went to like the box. Televisión que te controla.
Wait, isn't Pandora the thing in Avatar?
The planet?
Yes.
Is it Pandora? I think so.
Yes.
So it's
on
four
Animal
things.
Kingdom. So it's Pandora, the Avatar,
The box.
the box, you open Pandora's
Pandora's
box, Pandora the bracelet, and Pandora the Mexican singing group of the 80s and 90s.
They should all get together. Like Pandora should have a concert at Pandora in Animal Kingdom where they come out of a box and they're all wearing bracelets.
Wow. That was amazing. That was amazing.
Oh, Lord. So que me dice, no, I'm not going to keep talking about Nazis.
Okay.
Because I was going to ask you about the Central Florida thing, but like, you know what?
I'm not looking forward to? What movie?
Nazis in Central Florida?
I'm not looking forward to it. I'm so sorry what I'm about to say. Because I like everybody in that movie.
The new Agatha Christie?
No. The Marry Me movie.
Oh, you know that? Oh, yeah, mira que they're promoting the hell out of that movie in LA.
I mean, I like J-Lo. I love Maluma.
Yeah. Who doesn't like Owen Wilson?
But...
You know what? It looks like your typical rom-com, and I think what has happened is that lately, if you really notice, nobody really releases rom-coms in theaters anymore.
Where are they in streaming now?
They're mostly in streaming. So think about the average thing that gets released in theaters. It's your blockbuster movies, your Marvels, your Star Wars, your superheroes, and all that. Your IP franchises, your Mission Impossibles. Then you have the things that have to get released for Oscar qualification. Mm-hmm. And
I want to watch Spencer.
Oh, with it,
I see her.
Kristen Stewart.
But from what I've seen, she was really good in the movie. So I take back everything I've said about Kristen Stewart and her one-dimensional look.
I think she looked more like Naomi Watts than Diana.
She looked like Naomi Watts doing Diana.
Exactly. Yes. She looked like, yes, that's exactly what I think she looked like.
But now, I feel there's such a cluster F because the Oscars are next month.
They haven't even announced the nominees.
No, yeah, and
I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen a damn thing.
And it's you don't know what's nominated. You don't know what's...
Well, because it's mira, this movie, Nightmare Alley, it's probably not going to get nominated for anything, but with Bradley Cooper and Cate Blanchett, Jose and I saw it in the theaters. It was around Christmas time. It's already on Hulu.
Yeah. My father watched.
I mean, it's
My father watched Don't Look Up.
Oh, Jose saw it. I have no interest.
And no, I do want to watch it. And apparently, he didn't know that it was like parody.
Oh yeah. It's satire. Yeah.
So he saw it and he's like, "Pero
¿Qué es esta película?
yeah." And you know, my dad, when it comes down to like film, he's very like, you know, he
absorbs it.
no, but he's very like traditional.
Oh, okay,
Right.
okay.
So I knew that that's not the type of movie that he would like, but you know.
But here we are.
But here we are. No, a mí no me gustó. Y eso de planeta, whatever. So
Yeah, it's funny because every critic disliked it, but every like quote unquote average person has liked
that
it.
movie's not. I thought that movie was critically acclaimed.
No, it's at best it was split down the middle. At best. Yeah.
I'm wrong.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I do want to see is the Pam and Tommy.
Oh, definitely. Actually, that's something I wanted to
really want to see that. It's amazing how they made that woman look like Pamela Anderson.
What was amazing was that I was reading an editorial about it earlier today or yesterday, and the writer must have been like 22 years old, and she was talking about like
Of the article.
Yes, she was talking about how like 2 generations ago or whatever, and I'm like, pero si that happened in 1995, what are you talking about? Eso fue el otro día, and it's like, oh, it's not.
No, it's not.
But it is, but it's not.
Isn't that sad? It's like all these people had no idea what it was to just know Baywatch was everywhere.
Yeah. CJ Parker means nothing to them.
Nope. Neither does, what was Nicole Eggert? Summer or autumn? I know she was a season.
Autumn.
I know she was a season.
I poor Nicole Eggert.
Okay.
Well, with her and
Were you going to say Charles or Chachi?
Scott Baio.
Because you went, I didn't know which way it was going to go.
Did you ever actually watch Baywatch?
Of course I did.
Conversation, because you know that I didn't.
Of course I did. Because the thing with Baywatch is Baywatch used to be on like Saturdays at like 4. So that was one of those, it's not like it's early, so but it's not late, so you're still in the house.
About Baywatch is that it was the world's most famous show.
Yeah, or most watched
show. But here it wasn't. But here the people that did watch it watched it because it was the world's most famous show. But not because it was popular, but it was more like a secondary popularity. Does that make any sense?
Was that a haiku?
Yeah.
What was that?
But you know what I mean?
Como para enterarse.
Right.
Like what's the hullabaloo
this
about?
Is like
right.
the most famous show in the world with like Pamela, that
right.
hot girl, Pamela Anderson,
yeah.
and the Hoff and Knight Rider but it's not because the interest started or peaked here.
Right. It had to leave our shores for us to be interested in it.
Unintended.
To that I didn't think about that, yeah. To that level, yes.
It's not good.
Of course not, but it's fun.
I don't know. Like I was never.
There was an episode where they were all stuck in some like tower and there was a bomb and they had to like swim underwater.
I've seen that one.
I think we saw it together.
Yeah.
I think we saw it after we saw Acapulco Heat.
Yeah, and what I find is that their underwater scenes.
They're all in a pool.
They're all in a pool, and okay, maybe the show didn't. If the show hired the Hoff, what's his name?
David
Hasselhoff. Not that, he's like tremendo A-lister, but if they had money to hire him, then, and I'm not even going to say Pamela Anderson because that was her breakout role.
Right, correct.
Right? If they had enough...
He was the biggest name.
He was the biggest name.
Yeah.
If they had money to hire him, they had money to like at least film it in an Olympic-sized pool.
Yeah, but remember what happened with that show?
What?
That show was originally on NBC.
Uh-huh.
Then NBC canceled it. And
you don't say.
I don't. Yes, exactly. What are the odds? And then Hasselhoff actually became a producer on the show. So
saved it.
And so he was in control of everything, the merchandising and everything.
Look,
so maybe he didn't make a lot, but he made.
It was the early 90s. I mean, he had just knocked down the Berlin Wall.
I mean, that's a great encore.
Right. So what does one do when you sing on top of the ruins of the Berlin Wall in a lighted jacket?
I mean, in all fairness, after that, I'd go to the beach too.
People, have you seen that video, listeners?
Wonderful.
It is like the greatest thing ever because David Hasselhoff,
for those of you who don't know,
our older audience, who was on Baywatch, he was actually, we got to know him in the 80s as Knight Rider.
Yeah,
Michael Knight, that he had this really cool car, Camaro, and the car talked to him, Kit.
And it was Mr. Feeney.
It was a huge, huge, huge hit. And that's what he was known for. And then obviously he did Baywatch in the 90s. But what we Americans also maybe didn't know, or some of us knew,
Yes.
that he was a super duper popular recording artist in Germany.
Like legit.
Like he's not German. But he was big in Germany. You know how a lot of people are big in Japan?
He didn't go the Japanese route.
No, he went the German way. In fact, he was so famous that when the Berlin Wall came down, I don't know if they asked him or somehow he was involved in the celebrations of the downing of the Berlin Wall. And there's this very famous video, YouTube it, of him singing on the Berlin Wall.
Do you remember what he was singing?
I don't know what he was singing. And his jacket was lit up. It had all these like lights.
Yeah.
It, like, just put up
David Hasselhoff, Berlin Wall,
lighted jacket.
You don't even have to put that much.
It is like the greatest thing. The greatest thing.
He's just wonderful. You know, he's one of those people who's just he doesn't have to work ever again.
No.
After Baywatch, he's set.
Pero eres tan ridículo. Like, and I don't mean that in a bad way, in like a derogatory way. I just mean it like
he embraces the cheesiness of it all. Like, for Christ's sake, he's been in I don't even know how many episodes of SpongeBob.
Well, there we go.
So he embraces it. He knows what's you know.
He knows what's what.
He knows what butters his bread.
What butters his bread? Because they pone mantequilla en pan.
I know. I want mantequilla.
Well, the Olympics are this weekend.
That's right. Wait, does it start today?
It actually started today, but the opening ceremonies are tomorrow in Beijing.
So the opening ceremonies are on Friday.
Yes.
Okay, got it. So it's today.
So yes,
but on Friday.
The Winter Olympics are in Beijing.
A place known for its winter.
I am a huge Olympophile. I love the Olympics. I will be watching, as I always do. Not really into these Olympics. I had, and you remember this, I was very outspoken about the Olympics being in Beijing in 2008. And I am even more upset that they were in Beijing in 2022, the Winter Olympics. But, you know, China has had a history of well-known documented history of human rights violations, of censorship.
You don't say.
Of censorship, of just everything you can think of. And yet here we were celebrating the Olympics, the world's greatest spectacle. And, we love and peace. And
como yo digo, when they came out and they were like, oh no, there's no more reported cases of, COVID in China. And I'm like, sure, Jan.
Right.
Sure, Jan.
Right, because I believe that.
Right, because, billions of people, but, no, aquí no hay COVID. Sure. Tell me another one. Exactly, and you just said it. Me favor. Do you prefer the Summer Olympics, though?
Yes. Except.
The luge?
No. My favorite winter sport in the Winter Olympics.
Curling.
I am obsessed with curling. I will watch. No, not only will I watch it, I put the DVR to make sure that anytime curling comes on TV, even if it's like the first round, the semifinals, that way when I go back to my guide on my TV, on my DVR, I have like 10 hours of curling. I love it. It's my favorite thing. I love it. Like okay. Isn't it awesome to watch though?
It's very interesting. I don't know about awesome, but it's interesting to watch.
I love it. You could keep the figure skating. You could keep, Brian Boitano.
You know how we could kick ass the U.S. team in curling?
Of course. Nobody like a Cuban or a Latin American person.
Mira, tú agarra 4 o 5 viejas de Hialeah que limpian cada sábado con, palo y cubo.
Uh-huh.
Gold? No, they'll have to create a whole new medal just for platinum. Diamond. The diamond medal just for them.
No, they'll go through the ice. they'll hit the bedrock. Okay, listeners, have you watched curling?
How do you best explain curling?
Okay, so here's what curling is. So imagine. Okay, so we have a lane. Okay. Like imagine a bowling lane.
Okay, that's good. Okay.
And at the end, you have a bullseye, right?
Okay.
So each team has the rock, which is a piece of marble.
Okay.
Okay. And the point is to get your rock in the center of the bullseye, like
Right.
dead center.
Okay.
Right? That is your goal. But the thing is that as different teams, so the bullseye is very big. So obviously you want to be in the center. As different teams, it's their turn. They may strategically, like if your rock is in the bullseye
They
but
wanna
not
knock
in
you
the
out.
middle, they'll strategically try to knock you out.
Okay.
Right? And then so what happens is a server goes in the alley. So imagine instead of, the bowling ball, it's a smooth marble.
Okay.
And it's on ice.
Okay.
So instead of wood, it's ice.
Okay, un pedazo de mármol en,
So
en
then,
hielo.
being once you gingerly let go of the rock and it's going towards the
Yeah, because you
bullseye,
can't, like, chuck it.
You navigate its trajectory through brooms.
This is why I'm saying una colección de Latina is what we need to send to the Winter Olympics.
And then the brooms...
Because you're like making grooves in the ice.
Right. And
you're
the
heating
air and all
up
that.
and right.
And
right.
that is what facilitates the trajectory. But what I love is like how quick it happens. And
It's really quick.
Especially if it's a foreign team, you hear them using code words like "oh yeah, they're like constantly screaming.
Right.
And I watch it like I'm not kidding. Like if it was the last, like there was 30 seconds left on the Super Bowl, and like
it's do or die.
Like, yes, like that's how I get watching curling.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, oh my god, I love it. Like the ski jump, you could keep the ski jump. Give me curling. Give me curling. Or I mean, I was really into Apollo when he was competing.
Apollo Ono?
Yeah. I was really into him, but no. Yeah,
But the curlers.
the curlers. Oh my god, yes.
And even better, if you get Latinas, then they can be curlers who wear curlers.
Oh my god, that'd be hilarious. Que se pongan
Lo rolo.
Lo rolo. Mira, that's something you don't see anymore.
No, ya eso de ponerse los rolos con
And
el,
I
con
think
el,
actually
la pañaleta.
that is uniquely Latin.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen a white person with curlers in the supermarket.
I mean, in all fairness, we live in Miami where there aren't that many white people
No,
to
but
begin
we would have
with.
seen it in sitcoms. Or movies.
I feel like I did see it in Mad Men.
Yeah, but that was also 50, 60 years ago.
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about like
Present day.
like present day, like
Well, you
like
know,
part of our childhood. Just
right, or,
okay, yeah. Every
90s,
day.
2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, that was so normal. Ver una señora con los rolos.
Es que ya nobody curls their hair también.
Con rolo, no, because they use una...
La tenaza.
La tenaza.
La use la tenaza. So yeah, you
That's such a... Have we ever stopped to think about what a great word that is? Tenaza.
the claw.
The claw. How did he fix her con la tenaza?
La tenaza. Caliente la tenaza y... Yeah, that's why curlers are, not a thing anymore. Let's bring it back. Let's bring back curlers.
Let's bring back curlers.
Yes. I'd rather that come back than anti-Semitism.
Oh, no, yeah. Give me a good curler any day.
Bring back perms.
Nazis in Central Florida. Like, listeners, did you see the
The demonstration, I guess.
yes, like, pero qué quieren ellos? Like, do they really think that, like,
Right. Yeah. It's like, okay. So what is your goal?
yeah.
Like, what is other than pissing people off? Because let's be honest, they're just agitators.
I can't.
I just don't understand it.
I can't.
I don't get it.
Con tantos problemas que hay en el mundo, estas son gente que no han pasado trabajo. Like, I say it
Right.
a lot of times. These people that are, like, protesting this fucking bullshit and, being all that, it's like, I could tell you haven't had any real grief in your life, because when you've had a real grief in your life,
You don't go make
you're
them up.
fighting for things like injustice.
Right. You don't go make
Or,
up reasons.
equal opportunity. You're
Right.
not, like, down with whomever. It's like, oh, I can't. I can't. Yeah,
Me atoré con los Nazis. So, bueno,
Oh my god.
since I'm coughing, I guess it's time for a last soda.
Yes.
To help that. Coño, la verdad. I choked on my own saliva. So, do you want to go first, or do you want me to
you
go
go
first? All right. So, I am actually going to give the first flat soda of the year, I think, to the Tennessee School District.
All right, what did they ban?
They banned the graphic novel Mouse.
Oh,
Maus.
well, I guess this is going to be our our Jewish / anti-Semitism episode, because
Okay.
you're gonna talk. You're giving that last soda, and I'm giving one that's
Okay, so estamos parecido.
yes.
So, for those of you who don't know, the graphic novel Maus, Maus, is a story. Oh, it's a graphic novel that was written and drawn by the son of a Holocaust survivor. And the way that it was written is essentially the Jews are mice and the Nazis are cats. And so it tells the whole story, you know, of his experience in the concentration camp and, you know, just the whole Holocaust, as it were, using that imagery, right? Again, something that we can all kind of understand because cats and mice are, you know, naturally adversarial, and, you know, one is smaller and the other has more power, and so on and so forth. Well, the Tennessee school district, you know, that progressive state of Tennessee, has
Texas and Taiwan.
well, no, yeah. But I'm going with Tennessee because Tennessee banned this mouse, which actually I think I gave that to you one year for Christmas.
Have it.
Yeah. Because their objection was that I think there's like one image of like bare breasts, and there's a couple of uses of, you know, words like goddamn or whatever. So they banned it. It was like maybe a day or two before the Holocaust. I'm gonna mess it up, but like the National Day of like Remembrance for the Holocaust. So it's like, wait a minute. Not only are you banning this book for bullshit reasons, but you're doing it literally like a day or two before, you know, we're remembering the horrors of the Holocaust. I mean, give me a fucking break. And, you know, like I read somebody said somewhere, and they're like, you know, you're going to be very hard pressed to find a story, you know, that tells you about the Holocaust that gives you the warm fuzzies. You know, you're very hard pressed to find like a fairy tale situation of a Holocaust, you know, telling. So yeah, Tennessee school district, you know, flat soda.
So there's been in the past couple of months and couple of weeks and couple of months, there's been like this whole
books are being
wave
banned left
of
and
books
right.
are being
Yeah.
banned. And like 75% of them are either having to do with racism or LGBT
Of course.
IQ issues.
Right.
There was a school district in Texas where a parent asked for the biography of Michelle Obama to be
Banned.
because it was political. And I was like, oh my God. Like,
Llegamos a eso.
right. But
I saw a meme the other day, by the way, that said, like, due to all the recent school bannings and, you know, not being allowed to teach critical race theory, we're going from January 31st to March 1st, so we don't even have Black History Month.
But these are the same people that want to ban these books that will lose their shit if a school says, you know, for a Thanksgiving, we're not going to dress up the kids as Indians and pilgrims. We're just gonna, you know, celebrate Thanksgiving,
Have a little
Harvest
lunch.
Fest,
Right.
But we're not gonna depict, you know, Indians in Thanksgiving. These are the same people that will lose their shit over that. Like, you know, my kid's mine, and the same people that lost their shit last year when Dr. Seuss Enterprise decided on their own to remove from circulation certain books that had, you know, controversial racial depictions.
Also, if these people don't want to read about inappropriate violence and inappropriate sexual relationships, I don't recommend they pick up a Bible.
No, and you know what upsets me is that you can make all the arguments you want against public school and private school, you know, pros and cons, whatever. If you want your kids to be raised in a certain ideology or with a certain mindset, that is why you send them to the private school
Or homeschool
of your
them,
choice that will align itself
With your beliefs.
with your beliefs. And you know what? I have to respect that. That is your decision and your autonomy as a parent. Or you homeschool them, whatever. Right? But now the problem is that they want to enforce that will on public schools. Right? And as much as they may say that, because liberals, you know, they want to teach our kids critical race theory and they want to show them.
Which, by the way, nobody can pinpoint what that means.
Not only what it means, there's not a single school district
that teaches that. Right.
That is on the curriculum. Not
Right.
one. These are one of these fake, like, culture.
These things we're upset about that doesn't exist.
Culture war arguments.
Right,
that
yeah.
they do in order to fearmonger everybody else.
Right.
I would love to hear the opinion of, we have a listener in San Antonio who's a great listener and great friend of the podcast, who's a teacher. She's used our podcast as a learning tool.
Has she really?
Yeah, she has. She has.
Oh my god! I apologize, students, because I don't think I'm smart enough.
Well, actually, it wasn't my rant.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
So I would love to hear her take on it, but it's like this whole thing now that parents are going to these public school hearings and telling the school boards around the country what they should be teaching and how parents should have a role. No, I don't think that parents should have a say-so in what their kids learn in public school.
I don't think there should be hustler, but I think that, but that's not what we're talking about.
Right. Parents should not. Like, it's not about you and your kid only. It's public school. If you want your kid, as I said, if you want your kid to learn whatever it is you want to learn, then you have the option of sending your kid to a private school that will align itself with whatever it is you want your kid to learn or not learn.
Right.
So it's such a form of hypocrisy, right? It's so freaking hypocritical.
Well, yeah, freedom, unless it's something I don't like.
Right. Or I don't believe in.
Right.
So, and now here in Florida, that the whole thing that they're trying to ban, that you can't say anything related.
Oh, don't say gay?
Yeah, don't say gay.
Well, that bill passed.
Yeah. Well, it's going to pass, but it's probably going to be challenged now, whatever. But if the bill were to be enforced, like, I mean, first of all, how do you police that? And second of all, as a teacher, right? Because if I'm a teacher, then I would feel that, like, I would feel afraid of talking about it.
Right.
And what about if I have a student that comes up to me with very valid questions?
But that's what those things are for. It's not because they're going to police it. It's so that if someone who doesn't want their child to be exposed to it, for whatever reason, the kid goes home and says it, now the parent has a way to come back and be like, I have legal recourse. That's all it is. Because you can't police it.
All these fake, made up,
issues
that are culture war issues that
are not real.
They're not real. Especialmente con todos los problemas que hay.
Yeah, really.
Things,
yeah, really.
Right? Let's maybe stop worrying so much about, what books are banned and all that, and maybe focus more time on looking at teacher salaries.
Mm-hmm. How about inflation, rising cost of rent?
So, right, because did you see that the Florida? I mean, we're veering off topic
Yes.
to where your last soda is. The Florida House, when they met this week, they had all these issues. The don't say gay, the books. They had all these issues on their docket. There was nothing about affordable housing.
Meanwhile, people are being priced out of their homes.
Right. And rent. We're not even talking about like
homeownership.
the American dream, home ownership.
Right. Just rent. Just being able to have a house,
Right.
Roof over your head.
Anyway, bueno.
Well, your last soda.
My last soda, actually, the moment I read about this last week, I knew that I wanted to make it my last soda. So my last soda goes out to a woman who is named Irina Gut. And it has to do with the Holocaust. I guess this was, as I said,
our Holocaust memorial episode.
We don't plan these things.
No, that's what you guys don't know. We literally show up and just start talking about things.
So I feel that with the Holocaust, you feel that every few years or whenever you read of a story that you didn't know about, right? And then you think, but how did I not know about this? And then you also think, there's so many millions of stories or hundreds of thousands of stories of heroic stories that we just don't know. And will never be known of because there's just so many.
And so many of them have passed.
Or maybe nobody ever knew because...
Didn't get recorded.
Yeah. So this lady, Irina Gut, it's an amazing story. She, to make a long story short, she was not well liked by the Russians. She was apparently she was a bit of a protester, and the Russians had their eye on her. And I think she went to like a labor camp. She wasn't Jewish, into like a labor camp and in jail. Una de esas cosas. The point was that when she was like 19, she started working as a housekeeper at a Nazi officer's home.
Okay.
And the Nazi officer, he apparently he had just bought the house, and he didn't know that the house in the basement had a secret passageway to a bunker
Okay.
that was a little bit more off into like the property, not under the house. So apparently he didn't know that. So while she was a housekeeper there, she heard that, because before she was a housekeeper, I think she worked at a dry cleaner, and her clients were Jewish. So she had to really become friends with a lot of these people. And she heard that they were going to come and clear out that area the next day. So she meant that they were going to kill them.
Yeah.
So she went and was able to save them.
Oh, wow.
And she hid them in the bunker
That he had no clue
that he had
existed.
no clue existed. And they were there for years.
For years?
Yes. And what they would do is when he would leave in the morning to go to work, they'd come out and they'd hang out in the house.
Go to the bathroom, whatever.
And
Yeah.
she cooked for them and whatever. And then they would then go back in. While she was there, this couple had a child. And they wanted to abort the child because they were like, if we have a screaming baby here,
There's no way to keep that quiet,
We're gonna
yeah.
get found. And she's like, no, you have to have the baby. And somehow they arranged for her to have for them to have the baby. Shortly after that, they were found. The Nazi
After the
officer,
birth.
yes, the Nazi officer saw them because one day he got home and
Oh,
they were in
shit.
the house, and
He got home early.
He got home early and he saw them. So she pleaded, Miss Irina Gut, she pleaded to please not report them. And his ultimatum was that he wouldn't report them if she became his mistress, which she did.
Wow.
And she became his mistress. He didn't report them, and all 12 made it. Well, 13 now with the baby.
Wow.
So, but the story takes a twist. After the war, when Nazis were being persecuted
Right.
and tried, he went back home to his wife and child, and they rejected him because they had found out that he was harboring Jews.
He was a sympathizer in
Yes.
their eyes.
Right. And his wife and his kid completely shut him out, so he was alone. And somehow he made contact with that couple who had the baby.
Mm-hmm.
And not only did they become friends, the baby saw him as like a grandfather.
Oh, shit.
And he was, the baby, like, who now was growing
Yeah.
loved him like a family member.
Pa que tú veas.
And then in the 90s, that baby who is now a full-blown adult in his 40s or 50s, he met Irina Gut, who was now living in New York. So this is actually a very heart-wrenching story, but a happy
beautiful story.
in the sense that everybody made it. Everybody made it. And I thought, I mean, obviously the story's a little bit more complex.
Claro,
than
claro.
the
Yeah.
Cliff notes that I gave. But it's just, again, when these stories hit so hard because they're stories of such humanity up against the most inhumane, circumstances.
In recent history.
And that's why when these stories come out, like, you're so touched by them because there's just so many of them. And despite the fact that, again, you do hear so many of them, and every few years you discover a new one,
it never stops being impactful.
Exactly. Never. So I thought it was a story worth repeating here.
Absolutely. And it's, what's the Anne Frank quote? I still believe in spite of everything that, there's good in humanity. I totally butchered that quote.
I always tell people when they go to DC, I was like, okay, the Smithsonian's, you have to go to the Holocaust Museum, but leave it last. Because if you do it first, it will ruin your day. Like, leave it last.
That means. See, I would have thought to do it first because then, like, you have other things to kind of lift you up a little bit afterwards.
Nope. The Holocaust Museum, when I first went to it, coincidentally, I saw it last. And I have to tell you that it really messes with you. It really, really does, because they have everything they have in there are the real artifacts from people who were in the Holocaust, from their clothes to their hair. There's a part that you enter this huge room that has like a pedestrian glass bridge, and under it, it's all hair. From hair that they shaved off.
Yeah.
And there's another one that looks the same, that it's this huge room that has like a diagonal glass footbridge. Then under it, it's all shoes. And what's really messed up about that, well, the museum is incredible, but in terms of the
Emotion.
things you see and how it impacts you, is that they have videos of the experiments they used to do to children.
Oh no. Nope. Nope.
Now the videos are not being displayed in a huge thing.
No, right.
Like they're
It's not
they're
IMAX.
put in
like little kiosk things.
like a little kiosk that it's elevated to a certain height so a kid can't see it.
Right.
But it is there. And
Did you see it?
I did. And yeah, it's you leave there like I just want to go home. I want to go to my hotel and just
Eat ice cream and
like, sit in the corner. Like and that's why I tell people leave it last. Make sure you see it, but leave it last. Because it's like, mira, the Museum of Natural History is not going to make you feel better. The Museum of Aviation History.
The pop culture one.
No,
Exactly,
you're
yeah.
not going to go learn about, see all these things about the Holocaust, and then go,
Oh, look,
learn
the
about,
Fonz's jacket.
Yeah, learn about American pop culture.
Right.
It's just, no, but no, these things need to. That's why, like, a lot of times people are like, specifically to the Holocaust. Oh my God, I can't believe that, they left Auschwitz there and people go there. I'm like, yes. You know why? Because we have Holocaust deniers,
Right.
So you need to leave that on there.
That's
para
proof.
enseñar. Porque, I mean, something as documented as a Holocaust that happened in modern times, there's videos, there's millions of
Survivors.
accounts. Yes, and there's people who still say it doesn't
No,
happen.
they're like, no, that's not real.
Right. So that's why what you said last week, it's like, you know what? If all people can believe all this bullshit, Betty White was 100.
Yeah. Done.
Nobody's going to tell me Betty White wasn't 100.
If that's the lie I choose to believe, there are worse lies out there that people believe.
We are good. So, bueno. With that
On
said,
that note.
my gosh, we're ending on the Holocaust? Like, we can end the show on the Holocaust.
I mean, at least we're doing our part to keep it alive and, to keep
We don't want to keep the Holocaust alive.
Well, but
memory.
The memory, yes,
the proper information.
Correct. You again, it's if you what is it? Those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it, and we really need to make sure it stays out there.
When somebody who's very close to me told me one day, why do we need to know history? Like, that's such a waste of time. And I'm like, how do I even begin to answer that question? Like, how do you tackle that ultimate form of, ignorance? Like,
Without calling them dumb. It's hard.
So, everybody, on that note, we hope you listened, laughed, and learned. And remember to grab your pastelito, your croqueta, and your cafecito. And thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
That was episode 189.
We're circling to 200.
Yes.
We're rounding that airfield.
While that is the end of the episode, for those of you who want to be entertained further, we have a little snippet of Tristan.
Our biggest recurring guest.
Yes, who likes to be on the show every 10 episodes and reminds us every time we
passed
record.
that.
So for most of you, have a great weekend. For 3 of you who want to listen to Tristan's interview, enjoy.
Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes. All right, everybody. So, as we said, we got with us this week. No, see, hold on. All right, everybody. We got with us this week a special guest who I think is coughing up a lung. I don't know what's going on over here. Are you okay? You feeling all right?
Ooh. We could start.
Yeah, I have to.
You want?
Doing that a lot.
You've been doing that a lot? You got a cold?
Yeah.
All right. But you know what? A cold isn't going to stop him from being on our show. We got Tristan with us here. Thanks for coming back, sir.
Already started recording.
Yes, we started recording.
How long has it been that I haven't been here?
That's a great question.
I think it's been like episode 170 or something.
Yeah, it's been about 20 episodes, give or take. It's been a while.
Oh, frick that.
It's been a while. So, first of all, I love your Gumball shirt because thanks to you, actually, I like Gumball. Because I had always wanted to watch Gumball, but until you showed him to me, and it's freaking hilarious. Gumball. So, who's your favorite character on Gumball?
Gumball, literally.
Oh, Gumball, literally.
Yes.
Okay. Are you being ASMR?
What?
He's like, yes. Now pour the bottle. Comb the hair.
What?
So wait. Okay. You recently had a birthday party,
Yeah.
and what was your birthday party of?
Among Us.
I like that you even come with your own After Effects, so I don't have to do anything. It kind of works. So, okay, but wait. So your birthday's on December 25th. Right? It's like I'm listening to like an Elizabeth Taylor White Diamonds commercial. But we had your birthday party was in January.
Yes.
Why? Why was there such a big gap between your birthday and your birthday party
It was supposed to be on the 8th.
of January?
Yes, on January, but I think there was something to do there, and we couldn't do it there.
No.
I don't know why we didn't do it other days after the 8th and before the 22nd,
COVID.
but
Oh.
COVID. And then we did it on the 22nd.
Oh, okay. Well, as someone who was at your Among Us party, I had a really good time. Also, it's because I got into the bounce house before you guys got there.
Among Us is us.
Well,
They're
it
all
was
sus?
an Among Us / child-friendly
Squid Game. Yeah.
I want to reiterate the child-friendly.
Yes. Yes. Only one child was killed. It was. You know, that's why it was child friendly, right?
No
Kristen?
childs were hurt in the.
In the making. No, I'm kidding. I'm
who
kidding.
Was killed?
So what was
Nobody.
your favorite game that we played at the party?
Oh, I know what his favorite was.
What do you mean?
We played 3 games.
Oh yeah. Red light, green light.
That was your favorite? Red light, green light?
How'd you hear that?
Are you serious?
Well-
I would have thought it was tug of war when the kids whooped our butts.
Actually, yeah. And yeah, that's true. The kids
About
whooped
tug of
your
war?
butt.
Yes, you
When-
guys kicked
when
our
people
butts.
play tug of
You
war, they get
smacked
pretty-
it. I mean,
people
we
get
smacked
pretty
it.
savage.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, well, yes, all these children turned into like Lord of the Flies when they were playing. Yes, that was how you guys felt.
Yeah, well, the context is that it was like the adult men
Right.
versus that it was like 6 or 7 of them.
Versus the teenagers, and the kids were super strong.
And it was about how many of you guys?
It was
that
like
bi-
30
that-
kids.
that beat the crap out of the adults.
Yes, you did.
You did.
Yes, you did. I think I still have dirt in my shoes
I
from
remember when
how
they
far it
started-
was dragged.
When they started pulling, I was like, "Are you serious?" Like, I was like totally overestimating.
Like,
our-
not
Yeah,
gonna lie, I thought the kids, us, would lose, but instead we won.
Yeah, no, and you won bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
You won bad. Like I'm honestly surprised that Roger was not like just dragged because he was front and center.
We literally beat the crap out of the adults.
Yes, you
That
did.
was fun. Tug of war is so fun.
It is fun.
It doesn't matter how old you are. Like when you do tug of war, like you become a kid.
You become kind of savage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I lose my shit. I'm like, you're going down. Like,
Yeah.
now.
Well, no. Clearly, so clearly it's passed on.
That means that they always put me in the back.
Well, you're the anchor. You have
I'm
to.
like,
Yeah.
I'm like, dale, roll.
So and you
I don't
got
think you actually said that, but
I didn't.
he felt it. It was in here in his heart.
oh my, that's hard.
Do you know what the other option of his birthday party theme was?
What?
It was either Among Us
Uh huh.
or The Weekend.
Ding, ding, did it.
We wanted to do a weekend themed party, and I was like, "Oh my god, we totally need to do."
How does one do a weekend theme party?
Sure, he would have dressed up as The Weekend from After Hours,
Okay.
and then different
Speaking to the
incarnations
microphone.
of The Weekend.
Well, I hope that one of the party favors would not have been something to not feel our faces.
No, we would have had powdered sugar.
That's awesome.
So,
Alright.
but that was actually his idea.
Oh, that was going to be your idea, Tristan? You wanted a weekend theme party?
Yeah, but then I canceled it because I love Among Us.
Well, yeah, clearly. No, I know you love
Speaking
Among
to
Us.
the mic. I'm not speaking to the microphone.
Yeah, but you're close enough. Your
then,
voice carries, my friend.
And then I would have also dressed up in it, so I would have been beaten up Weekend.
Oh, the one in Vegas?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what weekend,
You could be.
Yeah.
You could be happy and loved Weekend when he was Starboy with Selena Gomez.
Okay.
That would be more up your alley.
Okay. I could be a Selena Gomez weekend.
I'm a motherfucking star boy. That one, yeah.
All right.
Ding, 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 ding.
Bueno, Tristan. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
That was a very short time.
Well, you know, we like to keep the people wanting more. That's a showbiz adage. You always want to keep people wanting more, so you do, you know, snippets at a time.
Instead, you go, give me, give me, give me, give me, give me.
Listen, it works. There's a reason nobody cares about Rita Ora.
Radio Aura is a bad singer. I don't even know who that is.
Well, there you go. All right.
You heard it from the kid.
You heard it from the kid, from the mouth of babes. All right.
Also, nobody knows who that is.
Yeah, again, you heard
That's
it
the
from
point. Yeah, that's you know what? Thank you for proving our point, sir.
That was true.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Mr. Tristan. Can I get a high five?
Saucy high five.
Bye.